Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I appreciate your viewership. I appreciate all those who take some time to hear the content that I have, whether it be the longer videos or just the shorts. Nonetheless, I appreciate your subscription. If you've subscribed and if you haven't subscribed, I would definitely appreciate your subscription. But nonetheless, this video today is going to be a little bit more personal, a little bit more about where I'm at currently. And I thought this might be an inspiring situation. Last week, I was, while at work, starting to feel some foot pain. And I've had several cases of gout. If you don't know what gout is, you can Google it. But gout is just like when your internal system gets too much uric acid built up, and it normally crystallizes and hardens, mostly in a male in his foot area, usually like the big toe area. So I'm accustomed to this happening every so often, depending on what I'm eating and if I'm not filtering out my system enough. And usually to get it out, you drink a lot of water to dilute it, and it eventually subsides. It's almost like an arthritic type of condition. Your foot, your toe hardens. It's hard to walk on it. I mean, it's extremely painful. So I had felt this sensation again. So my first mind says, "Man, I'm getting gout again." So this was last week Monday. So I worked Monday. So that night I started feeling something. The next day it was like, I'm not gonna be able to come to work. So I called in. I used a sick day. And usually with gout, depending on how severe the case, you can get rid of it within a few days. And those days vary. It could be 3, 4, just depends on how fast you get it out and how severe it is. But for me, usually 3 or 4 days, maybe 5 days sometimes, but 4 days. And sometimes, even if you still have gout, sometimes it's tolerable to even walk on it if you can. Sometimes you might be able to kind of walk a little bit and limp. Anybody who's ever had it, I'm sure you guys can identify what I'm talking about in regards to how uncomfortable it is. But anyhow, I stay home. I'm drinking my water, keeping my foot elevated to get that blood pressure, the blood flow away from the foot. You just kind of keep it elevated. And you just repeat, you just get rest, drink water, clear out your system until you start actually feeling better. So the next day comes, Wednesday, same thing. I'm like, man, my foot still hurt. So took off of work. Thursday, same thing. I thought I'd be all right by Friday, but Friday was the same thing. But I called in each one of those days, let them know my situation. They understood. Fortunately, I had some sick days. But those sick days are now depleted. So I am out of sick days. Fast forward, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday, I get up, feeling all right on my feet. Doesn't feel as swollen. Feels like, I put my foot in my shoe, kind of walk around a little bit, like, okay, this feels, like I might be able to make it. So I go to work. That's just this Monday. So I go to work, still a little uncomfortable because after a while, when you're on your feet for a while, it can be a little bit irritating. But I made it through the day. And side note, worked a 12-and-a-half-hour day. That's a long day. So by the end of the night, Monday, my foot is pretty intense. You could tell, like, it's like, all right, we had an extensive time to be on our feet that day. But nonetheless, I made it through. Boom, Tuesday. Nope. That day I was like, yep, that prior day, that Monday, absolutely just felt like it made it worse. Because it was a lot more intense. And then on top of that, it felt like it was affecting other parts of my foot, like primarily like a little closer to the ankle, like right up here, because the way I was walking on it, like I would kind of like keep myself from putting all that pressure on that toe. Um, so needless to say, I don't think it's gout because gout subsides at some point. Looking at my foot, um, and of course I can't diagnose myself, but based upon me just doing a little research, I feel like potentially it could be a bunion forming because usually that joint right there. Because I noticed my big toe kind of going like this a little bit. It's not crazy. Like I've seen some cases where some people's toe is like this, and that bone sticks on the side and it goes in like this. So I'm forecasting it potentially to be a bunion or just some type of arthritic irritation in that joint. It could be like a form of arthritis. The toe was kind of stiff as well, really stiff and fat. I've looked something up online that's called I don't know how to pronounce it, like hallux rigidus. It's like a stiff toe uh, type of condition as well. So my projection is that it could be either one of those two. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, I go to see a foot doctor or just a bone doctor and have them look at it because it's been this situation considerably that has been this long has been a little vulnerable for me. At some point when you can actually heal yourself, you bounce back. So it's put me in a situation to where I'm, of course, even with the gout, you're not as mobile as you normally can be. And it really makes you appreciate the small things, just like getting up, walking to the bathroom, because that can be a challenge, you know, or just going into the living room or doing whatever you have to do, or you have to leave and go to the store. I mean, that's a whole nother ball game in regards to like walking long distances and the pain that you endure on top of, how it looks, because you normally know that you can go a certain speed and then now you're extremely slower and you're like very precautious about, so you're kind of walking around looking like a mummy, like boom, drag, 1 foot drag, 1 foot drag. So I've been through the gout several times, more than you know, I planned on, but that's extremely 100% up to me based upon my diet. So I take full accountability for when I got the gout, because sometimes it can be unaware too. Sometimes it's just too much of eating a certain thing. Doesn't necessarily mean you eat a lot of bad things, but gout is just called rich or king's disease. Eating real rich foods, that are high in purines, certain seafoods, red meats, which I don't even eat a lot of red meat, and I've gotten away from red meat for a nice little while now, and I don't eat a whole lot of fish. But nonetheless, I understand what it feels like to tolerate that gout. And if you've never had it, I hope that you never get it. And if you have had it, I truly and sincerely understand how you feel. But in this case, considering that I don't think that this is gout, is a new situation. It feels like gout because it's in that same joint right there in that big toe, but it hasn't subsided. It has stayed swollen, and we're going on week 2 now of it being swollen. So this is a little different for me. But I say all of that to say this: I will continuously keep you all on my journey with this as I go to the doctor and we see what happens from there. But overall, the biggest thing that came to my mind in this journey, based upon everything that I've learned in my life, in regards to like how I even give out motivation and insight, is the only thing I have control of is my mind. That's all I have control of. There's a quote that says, "Accept what you cannot change, and change what you cannot accept." So in this situation, I may not be able to change this, at least immediately, based upon I've done what I felt like I could do. Now I have to take it to a higher level and let a doctor look at this. Um, but despite how uncertain it is, even me now being off of work and not having any more sick time, it puts me in a different situation. It's like, okay, oh, you're not working now. So depending on how long this is, where's the money? That weighs on your mind. Two, what's up with my foot? What, like, you start thinking about, man, is it going to be surgery? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? And I'm not going to lie to you and say that I didn't think about these things. But if I'm smart enough to come into recollection of my journey and the things that I've been through before, everything is mental. And I read a great book, if you ever get an opportunity to read it. The author's name is Eckhart Tolle. The book is called The Power of Now. One of the most interesting books I've ever read, because the guy teaches you how not to think. And that's hard because our mind, they say we have thousands, up to like 60, 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. So my point is this: if you subscribe to those thoughts, especially if they aren't healthy, they'll overtake you. And a lot of times those thoughts help to contribute more to the stress on the mind, which leads into the body and really doesn't do you any good. So considering that portion of my life where I read that book, on top of everything else I've experienced, I understand that the only thing I can control is myself. And I'm grateful that I have a mind to say that I don't know what's going to happen. Nonetheless, it doesn't mean that life is bad. It doesn't mean that everything's going to fall apart. It doesn't mean that I have to self-sabotage. It means that I have to stay considerably positive despite the situation. I have control over everything else. I'm still okay. It's just a situation that's just new for me. So it does put you in a different mindset. I like the saying that when something happens, it's not necessarily hard. It's just new. This is just a new situation. I'm not used to it. So it makes you feel a little bit like, okay, I no longer have control over the wheel. Because when you have control, it's like, okay, I can fix this and I can change this. This situation I really can't fix. And it's just new for me. So I'm not saying anybody else who's gone through certain situations and that have kind of figured it out and already had their mindset together, I say kudos to you. But for me, it's just like, I want to be back doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And but overall, I just wanted to tell you guys that I will continuously keep you with me on this journey as we see what happens. But overall, I don't want to lose sight of my contribution of how potentially I can inspire you and motivate you as well as myself. I cannot give that out to the world and then not subscribe to it myself. So it's just another thing. There's a saying, you might have heard it several times online, and I believe Steve Harvey said it, that you survived 100% of your days already. So why wouldn't you survive this? And I'm not saying this is a life or death situation, but just a situation to where you don't have to lose sight of the positivity and the optimism that you have. And that is totally yours, to understand that things are going to be all right and that these are just moments. And life is going to serve us several moments of uncertainty. If there's anybody who knows me, one of my favorite quotes, if you're a Marvel fan, the movie Doctor Strange, where Strange is talking to the Ancient One. And, he's upset because his hands are jacked up. He's a doctor. And he's a very self-centered doctor, egotistical. He's great at what he does. But now he's in a very vulnerable situation to where he can't operate, let alone do a lot of stuff. And he's dependent on it. So now he exhausted all options, which led him to way up in those mountains over there. I forgot the area, but where he was referred to go see, he was looking for someone of that certain magnitude that could fix him because he had ran into somebody that got fixed. But they told him the price was high, and he says they weren't talking about money. So in that situation, when he was talking to the ancient one, he was getting frustrated, and then she looked at him and she says, "You can't beat a river into submission. You must surrender to the flow of its current." That quote has stuck with me forever. My assessment of that quote is, despite how scary something is, especially like in this situation, she was referencing a river. You can't beat a river to submission. So if you're in that river, it's not like a human being where you can put it in a chokehold and tangibly and physically grab hold to it and put it in submission. She says you must surrender to the flow of its current. So despite being in that river, how scary it is, not knowing what's going to happen, if you surrender to it, it will actually save you. It will take you to where you're supposed to be. So in all, I'm saying that right now with myself, I have to surrender to the flow of the current and trust that everything's going to be all right. If I fight it, I'll be fighting myself. Like what more can I do at this point? So it's no sense in me being in my mind and deteriorating myself because, you know, the normalcy of life isn't there where I can just get up and walk and go to work and do that, right? Just another thing. So nonetheless, I'm gonna cut it right here. Stay tuned for the next part in regards to we getting the information in regards to what the doctor finds out and subscribes for me, and then we'll go from there. But nonetheless, let's keep our mind together. Let's stay optimistic, and let's just keep pushing. Peace. I'm here. Just gotta wait for the doctor to come in. Got my x-rays, so we'll see what happens. Well, just came from the doctor. Well, sitting out in the parking lot. Comes to find out that I have a lot of arthritis built up in the joint of the big toe. And it's on both sides, but primarily in the toe on the side, the right foot. And he said that a lot of that probably is due to having the gout that I've experienced, but nonetheless, my left toe isn't that bad. You know, it's just stiff and is limited in regards to the movement because of the arthritis, and because the arthritis is why it's so swollen. So they're just going to put me on a major anti-inflammatory. The assistant told me that it's pretty much a steroid, so I guess it's going to really help with that pain. He said, really, the arthritis is not going anywhere, but the objective is to eliminate pain. So he said that he's not my primary physician. He said that I should probably get with my primary physician to put me on a medication that is, pretty much an ongoing medication, which I pretty much got that if they subscribe me the same stuff that they have me on with the gout. But anyhow, that's pretty much it. It's nothing that I thought it was something totally different. I mean, in this case, I'm glad I just got the x-rays and I know what it is. So it's just arthritis built up. But it's still similar to what gout is, but it's just not uric acid per se. It's just gout is just an arthritic condition anyway. I kind of knew all this, but never hurts to know. But anyhow, that's pretty much the sum of what was going on. I just have to go get my medication and let that take effect, and I got to follow up in 2 months just to make sure. He said for the most part I should be able to just get back to it. I also did get some insoles. They gave me some, I guess, some special type of insoles, I guess, to help with, that movement of that toe, or restrict it, I guess, to where I don't need as much of that movement in regards to, like, that toe bending, I guess. So I got those. They put those in my shoes, and that's it. So I'm off to go get the medication, and hopefully that'll bring down a lot of that pain, because that's the most important thing, is the pain, and the limping. But he said the arthritis ain't really going nowhere, to just limit me movement, which I'm not tripping on, long as the pain is not there. So yeah, that's it. Off to the next stage, get the medication, and then hopefully I'll be off to the races, back to a normal walking life. So appreciate you all for being with me on this journey, this brief journey, but had me a little concerned because I had never been this unmobile before. So nonetheless, just got to keep doing better, eating better, living better, especially as we get older. So it is what it is. It's got to have a positive mindset and keep pushing. But if you're dealing with anything similar, I suggest you go get it looked at, or talk to your doctor or whatnot. And I'm with you, because I understand the pain and the discomfort, despite if it's gout or arthritis. But anything dealing with all your weight on top of your feet is bad, because it's you need that. Those are our wheels. So nonetheless, appreciate you all. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. Like it, share it, comment. I appreciate all of it. Thank you. Take care.